Alright, so I just want to start this video off by saying that I think the word simp is really overused. I think that people have made it out to be something that it's not. People use it to characterize any type of affection or expression of feelings towards a woman, and that's not what it is. And like, I'm aware that it probably started as a joke, but you really have people out here scared to show affection because they don't want to be seen as a simp. And, it sucks to see that. I hate seeing that because, that is ruining relationships. And, that applies to relationships with other people and relationships with yourself. If you don't allow yourself to express your love for somebody or, just be affectionate towards somebody, holding that in is not good for you. It's not good for your mental health because then it's always going to be in the back of your mind that you might lose that person. And once you get that into your subconscious, it'll probably happen. Now, luckily for me, I've been able to move past this to where, people calling me a simp doesn't affect me. That's why I'm able to make spoken word videos about girls. And, I see the comments. I get comments, where people call me simp, and I don't care. Like, I really don't care. I'm in tune with myself. And, I understand now that the people who are commenting that are really projecting their insecurities onto me. So, that's why I always try to respond with good vibes. But I feel like it's really, really important for me to make this video. I feel like there is somebody out there, at least one person, that needs to hear what I have to say. So to start off, I'm gonna give you guys my definition of simping. Now, in my opinion, simping is not something that can be done if you're in a relationship with somebody and the feelings are reciprocated. Basically, simping is if you are trying to force somebody to stay in your life that does not want to be there. That's what my definition of simping is. And I will admit I'm guilty of that multiple times over. And, I learned the hard way that that is not the route that you want to go in trying to find, a partner. Now, per usual, I'm going to give you guys some, background, some context from my life. For those of you who are new to my channel, I've dated 3 girls before. I'm very new to dating, so I've dated 3 girls. And the first girl that I dated, I remember I went into it not knowing anything about dating. Like, I didn't know what the talking stage was. I didn't know that all that stuff existed. As far as like dating goes, mentally, I was at like the middle school level. Now, mind you, I met this girl off Tinder, and I actually met her in one of my Tinder Tuesday videos. Those are like really old. If you want to go check those out, personally, I wouldn't recommend it, but some of you might like them. So just know that she was in one of those videos. So if you watch those videos, you'll see the vibe of them. Basically, I give off like a thought boy vibe, which is obviously not what I am. I am the furthest thing from that, but I look like one. And in those videos, I gave off that impression. So, when she saw those videos, including the one that she was in, she got the wrong idea about me. She thought that, I wanted something casual, which is what she wanted as well. She told me that she wanted something casual. Now, mind you, like I said, I didn't know anything about the talking stage. I didn't know anything about any of that. So I went into this situation thinking she was going to be my girlfriend. And, that didn't work out because, like I said, she wanted something casual. But the thing is, after we established that we wanted 2 different things out of that situation, that should have been the end of it. That should have been the end right there. But, I was so desperate, and that was like the closest I had ever been to getting a girlfriend. And, at the time I was just so lonely. So I tried to make it work. I conjured up this vision in my head of me waiting for her to finish college and getting her life on track and waiting until she was ready to be in a relationship, which, that would have been years. I was ready to wait years for this girl. And, so I kept seeing her and, we would hang out and she never reciprocated my energy. And like, this really was damaging to me and I didn't realize it. But like, me projecting this affectionate energy to her, whereas she was giving me like friendly, but like maybe friends with benefits type of energy. I thought that I could kind of break through her guard, but I couldn't. She was stone cold. I got to give it to her. I gotta give it to her. She knew what she wanted and she wasn't willing to compromise on that. And I respect that now. I respect the way that she approached things because she never really led me on. Everything that I did, as far as like trying to make things work and still trying to get at her, that was on me. That was me deciding to do that. And that's simping, okay? That's case study number 1 of simping. When you want something completely different than the other person, but you still won't let them go. That's simping. Now, the next girl that I dated after her, I remember I didn't waste any time getting back on Tinder. Literally the day I stopped talking to that first girl, I was back on Tinder swiping. And I started talking to this girl on there. And I remember our first date, we started talking about, what we were looking for. And this made me very, very happy because that's a conversation that I just didn't have with the first girl. So, the fact that on the first date we were having this conversation, it brought me a sense of security. And, we both established that we were looking for a relationship out of the situation. Now, at the time, I wasn't really familiar with talking yet. I still didn't understand the dynamic of talking to people. So my thing was I would only talk to one person at a time, which I still do that to this day. I still don't talk to multiple people at a time, but I have the awareness and the understanding that most people don't think like me. So, it's fair game when you're still talking. So anyways, me and this girl keep seeing each other for maybe like 2 to 3 weeks. And things were going pretty well, I would say. They were going pretty well. I think the thing about me is that I like to move fast in some areas and slow in other areas. So like, for example, I never kissed her. But when it came to like wanting to spend time with her and just, being in her company and talking to her, I wanted to see her every day. Now, fast forward about a week or two, she ends up friend zoning me. She tells me that she doesn't have enough time to talk to me anymore. And, she just wants to be friends. Now, when she told me that, I kind of knew what that really meant. Translation, she found somebody else. But I remember when she told me that, I couldn't let it go. So I told her, I'll wait until you have enough time to talk to me. I'll wait until you have enough time to date again. And I remember what she told me. She told me something that has stuck with me. And I'm so thankful that she told me this because it changed my life. But she told me never wait on anybody because the universe works in mysterious ways. And then she blocked me on everything. So that was like kind of her parting message to me. But that right there, that philosophy, that's something that stuck with me. And I'm really, really thankful for that. But that's case study number 2 of simping. She obviously found somebody else that she would rather be with. And I still tried to make things work between us, And it's like, sometimes you just got to let people go. I guess that right there, that was even closer than the first situation because she reciprocated my energy for a while, So I just couldn't let that go. That was the closest I had ever been at that point to having a girlfriend. And like I said, I was lonely and I was still, trying to get over that first situation. So after that, I kind of just like went cold for maybe a month and I just got on my YouTube grind, which that was a good thing. But I don't think that I was in a healthy state of mind. That kind of like knocked my confidence down a few notches. But after about a month, I started talking to this other girl, the third girl. Now, those of you who have been following my channel for maybe the past month or two, you know who this girl is. I've talked about her quite a bit, so I'm not going to go too deep into this because I could go on for hours. Basically, I met this girl. This was different than the first 2 situations. This was like an instant connection. I've never felt anything like this before. Like this was like some soulmate twin flame type shit. I've never in my life experienced that type of connection with somebody that quickly. It almost kind of scared me a little bit. And I think it scared her too, probably. But anyways, we were going really, really well. And I remember after our first date, I was like, man, this is the one. Like, she is the one. And when I say the one, I'm not just talking about a girlfriend. Make of that what you will. But one day, she just became very distant. And she told me that she wanted to just be friends and she wanted to, keep hanging out and everything. She said she wasn't ready for a relationship because she was still healing from, I guess previous situations. At first, that cut me really deep, and I've talked about that quite a bit. But I said, you know what? Me and her have such a great connection. We can make this work. We can be friends. And we kept hanging out as friends, and things were still going well. The vibe was still there. The connection was still there. It was undeniable. I couldn't deny it. She couldn't deny it. We never really talked about it, but we kind of talked about it on a more abstract level, like, body language or actions. Like it went without saying, basically. Like in this situation, I never got the vibe that she just found somebody else. That idea was planted into my head and it kind of started to consume me. But intuitively, that wasn't the vibe that I got. But anyways, I've gone in depth on how that played out. Basically, I couldn't see her as a friend. Once we got to a certain point, I couldn't see her as a friend anymore. And I started, making like subtle moves on her, as far as like, texting her certain things or, writing poems about her, things like that. And that kind of, I guess, scared her away. But, that was kind of simping already. But even after that, she was like trying to ghost me. Like she was kind of like just, becoming more distant. And I kept hitting her up after that, like double texting and stuff like that. And that was simping. Like I was simping hard. Now, mind you, I don't use the term simping very loosely. I was simping. So I guess that's the third example of me simping. I don't know which of those was the worst, but they all taught me one valuable lesson. And that is, you can't force somebody to be in your life if they don't want to be in your life. That's the cold, hard truth. If you want to stop simping, stop trying to force people to be in your life. Now, obviously, that's easier said than done, because you want to do that in a healthy way. You want to do that out of genuine love for yourself because you deserve better. So, a few things to keep in mind as you start to let people go. For one, there's always something better. Always. Just like I said with the second girl, she told me, don't wait on me because, the universe works in mysterious ways. And a month later, I met that other girl who, that was like magical. The time that we spent together, that's time that if I had to do it all over again, I would, 10 times, because that was like the catalyst for my spiritual awakening in a lot of ways. And, when I was in the situation, it was hard for me to imagine something better than her, for me at least. Obviously, I don't want to pump her up too high, but, as far as like that type of connection. But now I understand that the universe, it works in mysterious ways. I can't see why this is happening, but I know that there's something out there that's better. That's why things worked out the way that they did. And, a part of that is my YouTube success. That right there was a big catalyst for a lot of the things that I'm doing on YouTube. A lot of the things that I'm talking about. So, just understanding that there's a reason why this is happening. Even if you can't see it, there's a reason why this is happening. Another thing to keep in mind is that you are whole within yourself. You do not need anybody outside of you to bring you love and happiness. You got to think about why you want that person in your life so bad. I'm going to just use the last girl as an example. The reason why I wanted her in my life so much is because she reminded me a lot of myself. She could relate to me in ways that none of my friends, none of my family members could. But I had to take a step back and realize that I'm over here obsessing about her company and her presence when I could just be enjoying my own company. The reason why I like her is because she reminds me of myself. So I could just enjoy my own company anyways. Basically, what I'm trying to say is examine the underlying desire behind being with that person and fulfill those desires yourself. You don't need anybody else outside of you to be happy and abundant. Know your worth, know your value. You are a complete being. And just in the same way that you want that person so bad, there's somebody out there that probably wants you just as bad. You just might not have met them yet. And one last thing, Don't let people bully you. Don't let people change your perception of yourself by calling you a simp or a blue pill or a beta. Don't worry about those people because they're only projecting their own insecurities onto you. Whenever somebody calls you that, send them good vibes because they need them.